What's going on YouTube? Today's video, we have a brand new Dreo Wall Heater, perfect in time for winter. Now this retails for about $100. If you guys want to check it out, I'll leave a link in the description. In this video, we're going to go through a breakdown of all the testings that we normally do when it comes to power rating, wind speed, and the heat output as well. This has a total of 9 protection levels, and I'll get into all of those later on. We'll install this as well as give an overall review whether it's worth it or not. Smart wall mounted heater, perfect for winter time. Dreo has a very nice technology when it comes to being very safe for heaters. I have multiple heaters that they've sent out before in the past. I love those ones. However, you always have to prop those ones up, have them on a bookshelf, have them on a table, have them on a desk in order to actually feel the heat. Those do take up more room, obviously counter space and all that. This is a space saver. Let's go ahead and check it out here. I'm actually very excited. The retail on this is actually under $100. I know that for a fact. I don't know the exact price because this is a pre-production unit. When I upload this, it'll be pretty much the first day it's fully released. But right here, we do have a Dreo app, so it's compatible with Dreo app. You have a quick start guide here as well. So it'll show you how to get started on the app, how to properly use it. Make sure you don't use an extension cord or power strip because it's not safe to use that. All right, so we do have that's cool. So this has a kind of like a gyroscope kinda. It's a leveler, so make sure you're straight. And then you have little holes here to be able to drill on the template. Really cool. The device here itself is actually way smaller than I thought, which is even better. And we do have a remote and all the other accessories in here as well. User manual here, as well as you have anchor brackets as well as some nice screws. So drywall mounts, and then I don't know what this is, but you have this little hook. You have a white remote this time. Usually they always do the black one, so it's interesting that they did change with the remote, and they have clicky buttons rather than the quiet one, which is nice as well. And then you have another one of these little pieces right here as well, so it's probably to mount this. Taking a look at the device itself, since that's pretty much everything in the unboxing, we have right here. So this is what it's going to look like. You have a really nice finish. I don't know if there's multiple colors that you can get, but this is what it looks like. You have a little oscillation here on the bottom. It's a manual oscillation, so you basically just angle it to however you want, keep it there, and you're pretty much good. So this is what it's going to be flat. You can angle it down if you want the hot air to go straight down, or if you don't want to feel the hot air, but you just want it to be hotter in the room, then you could push it all the way up. So it's really nice. You have an LED display, touch panel on the front, and it shows you don't basically touch this hot piece right here after it's turned on because it'll be hot, of course. Here on the right hand side, you do have the power rating, which is 1500 watts, and we will break down the energy cost and all of that in this video like we usually do. On the back, you do have like an exhaust fan here, keep the device from dust and everything else like that. So you have that right there in the back. 2 mounting holes right here, as well as these 2 hooks right here at the bottom. So this is to use the power cable here at the bottom. That way you can actually store this for later, or if you don't use it, you can keep it wall mounted, but just store it in the back like that. Obviously a lot neater, but I'm just showing you guys. So that's how I think it originally came. Obviously it would have plastic and you take that off, but I already opened this to make sure it worked. And it does go from the bottom of the device, and you hook them onto the bottom right here. And you can take them out as well by just sliding out. So you screw these on the bottom so it doesn't wobble around. That's nice and smart. So you have 2 of those. That way you can actually mount it properly. It even shows a QR installation, which is super cool. I love that Dreo makes things very dummy proof and very, very simple. So let's go ahead and set this up actually. All right, so for this, you obviously will need a drill bit to be able to actually drill on the wall. And I know I do have a bunch of holes on the wall because I mount stuff all the time, but you're gonna need something like that. And then I know there's a QR for the video, but I'm just gonna use the detailed instructions and we're gonna see how it goes together. So obviously we made enough room. We got rid of whatever was there. We're gonna use this as a guide. So we're gonna use a pencil. We're gonna mark all 4 corners, make sure this is centered here at top. We're gonna try to center it, which I would just use a regular pencil. I have only a mechanical pencil nearby, but you know, you're gonna punch out these little paper pieces. That way you can actually draw through the hole. And then once we want it where we want it, I think right here should be good. We're gonna go ahead and draw a circle. Just gonna fill it in so we vaguely know where the centers are. All right, so now we have our template here with those 4 dots. Now it says for drywall, you're gonna have to make drillings for the wall anchors, or you can have one of these devices here to make sure if there's any wood studs behind it. We're gonna check right now, or if there's any electrical. So it'll beep. Looks like we have one wood stud right here. Yeah, so we have one wood stud on the right hand side and nothing on the left side. Yeah, okay, so on this right side we have a beam for wood going right here, and then on the left side we don't have any, but we're still going to use wall anchors on the top two at least. The bottom two we're not going to use because the bottom one on the right one has wood, the left one doesn't, so we don't need all of the wall anchors. That's just good to know. Of course you could use wall anchors on all of them, but it doesn't make sense to use a wall anchor on wood, which I guess we'll do it anyways. But you're going to basically need one of these little drills to be able to make the hole first, and that should be it. I know people also use painter's tape so it doesn't get messy and you don't really have to draw on the wall itself, but we're just using what we got, I guess. So we're gonna go ahead and drill the first hole. We're gonna try to center as much as possible of those holes. And of course you do want to wear eye equipment. I don't have eye equipment right now, but we'll just do it just cuz. And most important, wear eye equipment. So we're gonna go ahead and just mark the center of each of them. And it will get a little messy because you got drywall and all that. Good thing I didn't wear a black shirt. All right, so now that we have all 4 holes drilled, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and switch this bit for a Phillips or a PH2, whatever you wanna call it. We're gonna tier this one on here. All right, and we're gonna grab our screws here. Technically, you could do your wall anchors first. These wall anchors, you do have to use like a hammer to push it in at first or make the hole as big as you possibly can. But I also do have some metal wall anchors, which I prefer because they're really strong. All right, so a good point that the user manual says is make sure that this does reach the wall outlet, the electrical cable. Make sure this reaches basically. And the reach on this, I would say is about maybe 7 feet. So make sure you have a good enough clearance for that since you can't use extension cables or anything else. So make sure you have the actual outlet just by itself. In terms of the wall anchors, we do have these zinc self-drilling wall anchors, and I'll leave a link in the description. These are my personal favorite when it comes to heavy duty wall mount stuff. So they do have a lot more weight to be distributed on these as opposed to the plastic ones. So these are the ones I use. They're self-drilling, so all you have to do is put the screw in there and drill automatic since they do have that metallic tip. So I'm gonna make sure that these screws actually fit. They should, looks like they do. So the screws actually do fit, and it'll just automatically open up. So we're already on the new bit. And what you wanna do is you're gonna drill this only, you're gonna leave a little bit of a gap so you can actually hang it on the wall. Now these do make big holes, so just an FYI. They're easily the best. Basically one of them. So that's one. We'll do one more. I'll just do the top 2 with these bigger ones, and then we'll just do by itself. But the device itself isn't heavy at all. I still just want to make it last. Definitely wood back up. So we're pretty much good on that. We left about a finger in room from the wall to the top of the screw. So now that we have that, I'm gonna go test it out. Yep, both of the screws fit. So this is how it's gonna look if you wanted it to be just like this. Which I like the way that this looks right now because it's perfectly even, perfect straight, and it goes along with the posters that I have in the back. What that's gonna look like, you could just keep it just like this, but when you are adjusting it, that's not bad. I don't think I need the bottom one. If you want to keep it just how it is, keep it just like that, or you can add these little wall, which these hook on to the bottom. All right, so you can see here, they just slide on and off just like that. And whenever you want to take it off, you could obviously take it off. So we're just gonna apply these just because. Just for extra clearance, make sure it actually stays there, it doesn't move. Now this does have a bunch of safe features on, and I'll get into that in a bit. You don't want to drill it all the way down because you still want the vent on the back to actually have room. And if you ever wanted to take it off, unscrew the bottom 2 and slide it out how you normally do. But yeah, that's pretty much how it's going to be. That's how it's going to look. Now let's go ahead and set it up in the app. So we're going to go and plug it in here. So we are now turned on. We have a little indicator right there. We're going to turn this into Wi-Fi pairing mode. So we're going to hold this Wi-Fi button for 5 seconds. There we go. Now we're in Wi-Fi mode. Make sure you download the Dreo Home app or the Dreo app, whatever you want to call it. It'll automatically pop up. So it automatically popped up right here. We're going to add device, and it just says heater. So that's good. And then it's going to go ahead and connect to the router and do all the setup process for you. It automatically configured for my Amazon Assistant. So if I wanted to talk to it and turn it on, turn it off, schedule it, whatever I want to do with my Amazon Assistant, that I could do that. You could change it to a different room. They have 2 different colors. Looks like they have like a goldish color. And then you can rename it here. I'm just gonna keep it heater for now. And there we go. So it says the inside temperature, which is at 79, which is pretty decent right now. If we turn it on, it's on H1 for now. But if we click this, we have multiple modes. We have a fan mode also, which is actually pretty cool because it's not gonna blow as much as a poly fan like you've seen in other videos, but it actually does have a pretty decent fan. Right here on the touch display, you have all those features. Pretty much you have the modes here. You have eco mode and a fan mode right there if you just switch it between those. Timers, which you can get up to 24 hours. There we go, 24 hours. And then you can change the speeds right here. So H3 is 1500 watts, H1, H2, etc. Right now, it's obviously not winter, so I'm not going to use this right now. But it's good to have it here, and whenever it does get cold, sometimes it actually does get cold at night, so I'm in definite need of this. In the app, you can see here, you can change the modes. You have eco mode there, fan only. You can change the display, so if you don't want it to be on, you can turn that off. If you don't want to hear those beeps, you can turn that beep off as well. So I can turn the panel on, the beep on, child lock as well. So if a child was this tall, then they can't touch anything onto the display itself. The remote, I don't know if it'll work with the lock, but we'll find out. So this is the remote here. So let's see. So the remote is not child proofed, I guess. So on the remote, you do have power on and off, the modes, timers. You also do have the volume, the illumination for the LED display to turn it on and off, and the speed setting there as well. Now this is an IR remote, so meaning you have to point at the device itself in order to control it. And it does have the warning label here in the back. It does have this lock here for the battery, but it looks like you just push in and then release here on the back. And this uses a CR2025 battery. It says open window detection. When enabled, notification will be sent in ambient temperature, drops rapidly while device is running. So if you have a window open, it'll basically detect it and act upon it, basically. As well as the ambient temperature calibration. You also do have eco mode. So eco mode, it's very simple. You have a degree here, you can set it to. It'll automatically boost on when it is 2 degrees below that set temperature, and it'll keep it back up to the temperature. And once it's at the temperature, it'll stop. So it'll make sure it's constantly, let's say 85 degrees. So right now we're at 80 degrees. So if we go to 81, it'll say target temperature reached, and it should shut off here. When it comes to multi-layer protection, it obviously has child lock, which we showed you guys before, as ETL listed, smart safety notifications. So it'll actually beep or turn on to P4 and automatically shut off on its own, as well as the window function as well. And yeah, it's pretty much the most of it. 1500 watts, which is pretty standard on most most space heaters. Now this one obviously is a smart version, which is a little bit why you're paying a premium on it. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and break down all of the cost when it comes to having something like this wall unit. So when it comes to the power rating, on idle it was drawing about 0.7 watts. On the first mode, it was drawing 812 watts. The second mode, it was 1338. And on the third mode, it was 1498 watts, close to 1500 at the rated 1500 watts. So it's underneath by 2 watts. And also as a bonus, the fan mode that this also does have is only 25 watts. So if you decide to use it, it's a very low power consumption. The wind speed was 4.5 miles per hour on the first mode, 5.6 miles on the second, and 6.9 on the third. Now on paper, this does have a 28 decibel rating, which I do find to be true because this is extremely quiet when it comes to that, as well as a 30-degree manual oscillation, so you have to manually adjust it, which is perfectly fine because you just one and done and set it. Plus it's wall mounted, so it'll quickly deliver the heat within the entire room. You can control the temperature from 41 degrees all the way up to 95 degrees Fahrenheit, which is really, really cool that you have that much amount of flexibility within the temperature. Now on paper, it says this is 900 watts on the first mode, 1300 and 1500 in that specific mode, which I seem to be, this is actually very true. So they're really very accurate when it comes to that. I did a 1-minute test and quickly did the power ratings on each of them, and they didn't pass those thresholds. This has a 40% energy saving as opposed to other ones out there because it does have those smart features and all the other cool technology built into this. Now this is a very small unit, which is really, really nice because it's space saving and it's just minimal. So this is a 12 inches in width, 16 inches in height, and about 4.5 inches in depth. It has a 6-foot cord that you can easily wrap around the back of the device so you can have it stored onto the wall still or store it somewhere else when you're not using it. This also does have 3 ways to control this: the remote, the app, as well as the touch display. Dreo makes all of their products super easy to install because they have QR videos, they have easy installation guides, as well as customer support. Now because this has a fast delivery ceramic heating chamber, basically I want to call it, you're able to get the room hot as fast as possible with as most air as possible. So what that means is basically it's going to get hot fast. And we did test that out from fully off all the way up to 200 degrees. It got about 30 seconds in 200 degrees, which is really quick compared to other ones that take minutes to reach that. As far as breaking down the cost for using one of these units, this is a hypothetical equation, but it's power equals energy times time. When you break that down, it's 1500 watts as the power rated. Divide that by 1000, which gives you 1.5 kilowatts. You're gonna have to turn that into a metric of time. So you're gonna multiply that by 8 hours or whatever amount of time you're using it for per day, which gives us 12 kilowatt hours. You're going to multiply that by whatever PG&E costs per kilowatt hour, and then you're going to get your final result. So per day it was $3.60, per week 25 bucks, per month about 100 bucks, and then per year is about 1200. So that's assuming you use it all the time, all year round. It's not going to be cold, like I mentioned before, all year round. It's only going to be probably 3 to 4 months of coldness. So if you put that into equation, there you go. So when it comes to this Dreo unit, honestly, I'm going to be keeping it. I had a previous unit that I used to have just sitting on the floor. That was not very safe because I would have stuff in front of it. Now, that unit did have very smart sensing when people are in the room. When it tips over, it'll automatically turn off. And if stuff are too close, sometimes it would turn off as well, I believe. Don't quote me on that. This one is just as smart, but it's out of the way, so it won't really hit any objects unless you have something on the way. It has child lock, so no child will actually be able to control the device on the touch display at least. This also has a secondary version, which the first version is a 2-prong. The second one is a more high rated prong, which is better for safety reasons. As far as the device on the outside exterior, the plastic doesn't get hot whatsoever, which is good because some of the other units out there do get hot. Besides the actual vent itself, it does get hot, but the actual outside of it doesn't. So it's good for, you know, keeping your room from fire protection. Without further ado, if you guys want to check this out, once again, it's under $100. You can see it in the link in the description down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. We out.